Part 62. God Level Tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Tien Taido. Chapter 614. Lu Mei is naturally charming, and she even practices the art of seduction. Just a few words contain strange magic power, which affects many immortal disciples present. Even the direct disciples who had just stood in those battle stages were stunned for a moment, but they soon recovered. They were people with outstanding talents, and their Taoist hearts were also very firm. Naturally, don't be confused by a simple sentence. Li Hao in the crowd was also distracted for a moment, but he soon woke up. Looking at this Lu Mei, Li Hao's eyes burst out with a gleam of light. This Lu Mei seemed to be filled with a strange power, which made people want to look at it more and make them fascinated. However, she does look beautiful. And as Lu Mei walked out, only one of the 10 battle stages was left. At this time again, "I'll take the last spot." As a voice sounded, a figure jumped lightly and fell directly into the battle platform. This is also a young man wearing the clothes of a direct disciple, and his body is filled with an extraordinary aura. It's senior brother Sun from Red Flame Peak. Someone recognized this young man as Sun Yang, a direct disciple of Qi Yanfen. And as Sun Yang stepped forward, figures stood on all 10 battlefields. Looking at the 10 figures on the battlefield, someone finally couldn't hold back anymore. Someone stood up again, then looked at Sun Yang, who had just stood up, and said to Sun Yang, "Senior brother Sun Yang, give me your spot. I also want to visit the Immortal King's Cave. Junior brother of Hallyu from Daiquan Peak. If you want this spot, just take action." Sun Yang looked at the person who spoke out and recognized him. He was also a talented person. Although he was not a direct disciple, he was still a core disciple. His strength should not be underestimated. He was just from Daiquan Peak. Is said in response. Immediately, the genius named Hanliu moved and jumped directly onto Sun Yang's fighting platform. "Please give me some advice from senior brother Sunday." Hallyu clasped his fists and said directly. Boom! As Hanliu's words fell, a powerful force of cultivation was immediately released from Hanliu's body, and a powerful momentum of cultivation swept across. This Hallyu was actually a golden immortal, and a second-grade golden immortal at that. A second-grade golden immortal? You're still a little short of that. Sun Yang, who was opposite, saw this scene, but his expression did not change at all, and he said in a deep voice. And as he finished speaking, a powerful power of cultivation began to circulate from his body in an instant. Boom! At this moment, powerful fairy power was flowing around his body, and this aura was actually a bit more powerful than the cultivation aura of the Korean wave. Oh my god! Is this a third-grade golden immortal? Definitely a third-grade golden immortal. Shocking sounds suddenly came from the mouths of the surrounding disciples. A third-grade golden immortal. The Hanlu across from him felt the power of Sun Yang's cultivation, and his face suddenly darkened, and he murmured that he knew that Sun Yang was very strong, but he didn't expect that the other party was so strong. Anyone who can become a direct disciple is not a weakling. Even if he works very hard, he still can't catch up. However, even so, he still has to give it a try, and he will not give up this spot easily. The next moment, astonishing fairy power began to circulate on Hanliu's body. With his body as the center, raindrops fell all over the sky, and a layer of water mist filled the entire space. As a disciple of Daiquan Peak, Hanlu practices water attribute skills, which are endless. In the next moment, Hanlu moved and headed directly towards Sun Yang. The rainwater around him condensed into sharp arrows, and then headed towards Sun Yang with a fierce offensive. On the opposite side, when Sun Yang saw this scene, his expression did not change much, but a sharp light burst out in his eyes. Immediately afterwards, Sun Yang's palms continued to make secrets, and then blazing flames burned and rose around Sun Yang's body, and the temperature of the entire space also rose. As a direct disciple of Qi Yanfan, Sun Yang's method is obviously the method of fire. At this moment, Sun Yang was bathed in the flames, like a flame monarch, with an unparalleled momentum all over his body. Only to see Sun Yang raise his hand and push out a palm. In an instant, the flames around Sun Yang turned into a huge palm, and then moved directly forward with a force of pure strength. Palm of Vulcan. The scene was spectacular and the momentum was astonishing. There is water on one side and fire on the other. This is the collision of water and fire. Boom. A dull sound resounded in the void. As the flaming giant palm fell, the raining arrows in the sky turned into steam and dissipated directly under the flaming giant palm. Bang! Immediately, everyone saw a figure being blown away. It's that K-pop. Poof! Han Lu stabilized his figure, but he spurted out a large mouthful of blood and stood outside the battle stage. I lose. Han Liu's face was a little pale and he said in a deep voice. Then, Han Lu turned around and left without looking back. Although he was unwilling, he was powerless to change the facts. He could only go back to continue practicing and strive for the next opportunity. Brother Sun is so powerful. Brother Han also lost. And, this is not the full strength of Brother Sunday. Exclamations came from the disciples of the Tianxing sect. Who else? Sun Yang stood proudly on the battle stage and said. For a while, no one went up to challenge him. Third grade golden immortal? His strength is indeed very strong. Li Hao muttered in the crowd. From the battle between Sun Yang and Han Lu just now, Li Hao also saw through Sun Yang's cultivation realm, which is a third grade golden immortal. Let's observe it. Li Hao thought to himself that he also wanted one of these spots, and he would have to fight later. However, those who could stand on this stage were all direct disciples, and they were all extremely talented and powerful. Li Hao decided to observe for a while. I believe that there are still many people present who are unwilling to give up. There are many geniuses in the Tianxing sect, who are willing to be inferior to others. The fact is indeed as Li Hao expected. After Han Lu stood up just now, proud figures came out one after another in the field. Brother Chu Feng, how about giving me the spot? Someone said to Chu Feng of Hanti Peak, who was also a direct disciple, and had a strong cultivation. So it's junior brother Lin from Zhifeng, haha, if you want, just come and fight. When Chu Feng saw the figure standing out, his eyes suddenly condensed. The guy standing out in front of him was also a famous Tianjiao of Tianxing sect, named Lin Ping, who posed a great threat to him, but Chu Feng also had strong confidence in his own strength, and immediately said with a smile. The Tianjiao named Lin Ping didn't say anything more, and jumped directly onto Chu Feng's battle platform. Then, the powerful power of cultivation was released without reservation. Boom! As Lin Ping's cultivation momentum was released, the disciples of Tianxing sect around him immediately exclaimed. What a powerful cultivation momentum! This momentum is even more powerful than that of Han Lu just now. This is the third grade golden immortal. I'm afraid that Lin Ping has reached the level of the third grade golden immortal. It's really too strong. But senior brother Chu Feng is not weak either. I really don't know who will win. Seeing this scene, Chu Feng also released a powerful cultivation force, which was not weaker than Lin Ping at all. Then, the two of them launched a powerful offensive at the same time and went forward to fight together. Bang 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 bang. The two people's powerful offensives continued to collide, erupting with a huge sound, and the momentum was even more amazing. For a while, it was hard to tell who was stronger and who was weaker. While the two were fighting fiercely, a powerful battle broke out on another battle platform next to them. It was the direct disciple of Ben Lifeng named Lei Dao who was challenged by a core disciple of Ho Tufeng. The core disciple of Hu Tupeek was also quite strong, at the level of the second grade golden immortal, but he didn't last a single round in the hands of Ladeo. To be precise, Ladeo only used one punch to knock the core disciple of Hu Took Peak away. At the same time, Shui Linger of Dai Quan Peak and Yu Linglong of Lingmu Peak were challenged, and then a fierce battle broke out directly on the battle stage. It wasn't just the two of them. Even Song Shang of Tianjian Peak and Zhang Kui of Hu Took Peak were no exception. They were all challenged by the Tianjiao in the sect, and not just one. On Song Shang's side, he killed them one by one with one sword, and those Tianjiao who challenged him couldn't even withstand one of his swords. On Zhang Kui's side, the opponent used all his means, and the offensive fell on Zhang Kui, but he couldn't hurt Zhang Kui at all, and even his defense was not broken. Fights broke out on 9 of the 10 battle stages. Only Qin Tian's platform had no one to challenge. As the battles broke out one after another and became more and more intense, fortunately, there were formations arranged by Mo Tianxing on these battle platforms, so that the disciples of Tianxing sect who were watching the show around were not affected. Some people stood on the battle platform, and some were defeated. And those who stepped onto the battle platform, without exception, were all people in the Golden Immortal realm. No one below the Golden Immortal dared to go up and compete. However, as a figure stood up, this situation was broken. Hantiafeng Wang Dao Fa, please teach me, senior brother Lei Dao. At a certain moment, Lei Dao had just defeated a core disciple of the second grade Golden Immortal, but with the sound of a voice, a proud figure slowly walked up again. As this figure walked out, many people present couldn't help but make an uproar again. Wang Daifa of Hanti Peak. Didn't he just join the sect 3 years ago? Seems like he's also a direct disciple. But even though he's very talented, he's 20 years behind senior brother Lei Dao. I'm afraid he's not even a golden immortal? Who gave him the courage? Lei Dao frowned as he looked at the young man in front of him. Although he wasn't familiar with the guy in front of him, he had heard of his name before. Are you the Wang Daifa of the Wang family from Central Continent? Lei Dao asked in a deep voice. Yes, that's right. Wang Daifa heard this and replied directly. You are not even a golden immortal. You are no match for me. I advise you to retreat. Lei Dao said directly again, even if the other party has a Dharma body, but the other party is not even a golden immortal, Lei Dao does not think that this guy can threaten him. You won't know until you fight whether you are an opponent or not. Wang Daifa's face did not change, and he said proudly. Very good. Then let me see how strong you are with the Dharmakaya. As Lei Dao's voice fell. Boom. A powerful aura of cultivation swept out of Lei Dao. Crackling. Around Lei Dao's body, the power of thunder exploded, making Lei Dao's whole body filled with a violent aura. When Wang Daifa saw this scene, a sharp light burst out from his eyes, and his power of cultivation was released without reservation. Boom. A top-grade heavenly immortal is only one step away from the golden immortal level. Compared with the aura of Lei Dao, it was far inferior. The next moment, all I saw was Wang Daifa's hand making continuous seals, and a magical power was released from his body's blood. At the same time, a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. The divine light shines, the flying rainbow fills the air, and a huge shadow appears. The shadow is filled with a supreme power, as if it is above the heaven and earth. Then, the phantom seemed to descend on Wang Daifa and turned into a huge furnace. Avenue melting pot. Is this the immortal appearance of Dharmakaya? The Wang family's Dharma body. Does anyone know what Dharmakaya this is? The melting pot Dharma body. The furnace Dharma body ranks number 101 among the 108 kinds of Dharmakaya immortal appearances. With the appearance of this scene, countless people at the scene were shocked and exclaimed. There were also some people with extraordinary knowledge who told the name of the Dharma body that Wang Daifa was using at this moment. The 101st Dharmakaya immortal appearance, the melting pot Dharmakaya. Although this melting pot Dharma body only ranks among the last among the 108 Dharma bodies, there is no doubt that it is powerful. Each Dharmakaya immortal appearance has its own ability, and can bring great improvement to the combat power of the person who uses it. There is a rumor in ancient times that only monks in the fairy land who possess the immortal appearance of the Dharma body or who have cultivated the immortal appearance of the Dharma body are the real immortals. At this moment, as this melting pot Dharmakaya was displayed by the king's Deo Dharma, Wangdaefa's aura immediately began to surge a lot, and it was even comparable to that of a second-grade golden immortal. It was inferior to the cultivation aura released by Deo. Then, Wangdaefa's figure was seen moving, and the huge avenue furnace also moved with it, suppressing the location of the thunder path in front, refining the world. Is this the Dharmakaya? Deo looked at the scene and murmured, his eyes bursting with light, and he felt a threat from the Dharma body in front of him. Not daring to be careless, the power of cultivation was released unreservedly from Deo, reaching the level of a third-grade golden immortal. The violent thunder kept moving around Deo's body like a thunder dragon, and Deo still used his skills to the extreme. Then he punched directly. Thunder fist. Then, the powerful and violent attacks of the two collided directly, causing another deafening roar. The battle platform shook extremely, as if it was about to collapse, and the sound was extremely loud. Bang bang bang. Immediately afterwards, another dull collision sound was heard. Everyone saw that on the battlefield, one person was bathed in thunder, and the other person was shrouded in the furnace body, constantly blasting towards the opponent. For a while, it was difficult to tell the winner. Seeing this scene, everyone was even more shocked. The kingly method of the high-grade immortal realm, with the blessing of the furnace body, actually has the power to fight against Deo. You know, there are several realms between the two of them, and this is still the golden immortal level, not the earth immortal or heavenly immortal. The higher the level of cultivation, the greater the gap between each level. Sometimes, just a breakthrough in one realm can take decades. If you reach the level of Xianxian or Immortal King, the breakthrough may even take hundreds of years. The power of this Dharma body and immortal form is so terrifying, everyone thought in their hearts. While the two were fighting. On the other side of the battlefield, the battle is still going on. Chu Feng has defeated Lin Ping, and Zhang Kui has defeated two geniuses. After Wang Daifa emerged first, several geniuses who had just started 3 years ago also joined the ranks of competing for spots. Li Hao saw that Shen Bingzin, Ye Lang, Long Kui, Gao Ta and others also stood on the battlefield one after another. Shen Bingzin faced Shui Linger from Dai Quan Peak, Ye Lang faced Chu Feng, Salanum faced Nau Ling Long, and Jiao faced Zhang Kui. What people didn't expect was that when Shen Bingzin released his cultivation to fight with Shui Linger, the cultivation he released turned out to be a first-grade golden immortal. When Shen Bingzin activated the 98th ranked Qinglian Dharmakaya, Shui Linger was actually defeated. Not only him, but that Long Kui, whose origins were unknown, fought with Yu Linglong for several rounds. After Yu Linglong used all her skills, she defeated Yu Linglong and became the second Tianjiao who defeated the old batch as a new disciple 3 years ago after Shen Bingzin, and occupied a battle platform. As for the other Shen Lang and Gao Ta, they were not as lucky as them, or they were still inferior in strength. Even if they used all their skills, they were defeated by Chu Feng and Zhang Kui respectively. After a while, the battle between Deo and Wang Daifa finally came to a conclusion. Deo narrowly won. Although he had the furnace Dharma body, Wang Daifa was still defeated by Deo, and finally had to leave here very unwillingly. With the end of one battle after another, the competition for the quota gradually came to an end. It's almost time to stand up. Seeing this, Li Hao's heart moved, muttered, and prepared to go out. Li Hao was determined to get the spot in the Immortal King Cave mansion. He could not continue to watch and had to take action when it was time. However, at this moment, your spot has been reserved, you don't have to go up. A voice reached Li Hao's ears, causing him to shudder suddenly and pause as he was about to walk out. This voice was a telepathic message. Who was telepathically transmitting to me? God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 615. Who is transmitting messages to me? Li Hao couldn't help but look around, and finally landed on the top seat. That's where Mo Tianxing, the leader of Tianxing sect, is located. When Li Hao looked at Mo Tianxing was also looking at him, with a faint smile on his face. Li Hao's heart suddenly shook. Is it the sect leader? This is the sect master transmitting a message to himself. Li Hao is sure. If that's the case, then there's no need to stand up. Although Li Hao is not weak at all, if he wants to fight, then let him fight, but if there is no need to bother, that is better. However, things are fickle. As time passed, most of the day passed quietly. There are fewer and fewer battles on these 10 battlefields. At the end, no one came up to compete for places. At this moment, on the battlefield, the 10 figures standing proudly were Qin Tian, Mu Hongluan, Zhang Kui, Song Shang, Lei Dao, Sun Yang, Chu Feng, Lu Mei, Shen Bingzin, and Long Kui. Among them, Shen Bingzin and Long Kui are the only two who stand on the battlefield as new disciples. Although Shen Bingzin and Long Kui only entered the sect 3 years ago, they have successfully entered the realm of Golden Immortal. They are very powerful. In addition, they both possess a Dharmakaya Immortal and have the ability to fight beyond the level. The two of them defeated several geniuses in the sect one after another, and attracted the attention of the audience with their strong strength. Finally, another moment passed. In the 10 battle platforms, no more battles broke out. No one dares to stand up and compete for a spot anymore. However, there are still many people who are unwilling but unable to fight for it. Since there is no one else competing for the spot, let's let it be decided. Those who stay on the battlefield can enter the Immortal King's Cave in 3 days. At this time, Mo Tianxing's voice came out slowly. Senior brother Mo, junior brother is a little confused. However, just as Mo Tianxing finished speaking, a voice sounded directly, which was a bit out of place and a bit out of harmony. Everyone looked along the sound and saw that the person making the sound was Duan Muzan, the leader of Lingmu Peak. Junior brother Duan Mu, please speak. Mo Tianxing said directly, with no expression on his face, but in fact he already knew what the other person was going to say. I heard Duan Musen continue to say. Doesn't our Tianxing sect have 11 places for this Immortal King's Cave? Why, senior brother Mo, have you only set up 10 battle platforms? Right now, only 10 places have been selected. I want to ask, what about the last one? Who is a person? Duan Musen's words were not concealed at all, they spread directly in this space, and even reached the ears of countless disciples below. As soon as these words came out, it was like a stone that stirred up 1,000 waves. There were sounds of surprise in the stadium. Li Hao in the crowd also felt a little bit in his heart at this moment, and he had a bad premonition. Looking straight at Duan Musen on the high platform, he also frowned. Yes, aren't there 11 places in the Immortal King's Cave? We have just selected 10 people. Who is the last person? Don't you need to fight for this? Everyone was very puzzled. But at this moment, another old man's voice came out from those high platforms. Yes, senior brother sect leader, there is still one spot left. Who is it for? Has it already been decided? The person who was born was Chu Hangzi from Daiquan Peak. Like Duan Musen, the leader of Lingmu Peak, Chu Hangzi was also quite unhappy at the moment. The two of them actually had no direct disciples, so they still wanted to fight for it. Especially this last spot. Not only were Chu Hangzi and Duan Muzin a little confused, but the peak masters around them were also looking at Mo Tianxing with some confusion at this moment. Looking at everyone's gazes, Mo Tianxing smiled, and then glanced at Li Hao. His eyes seemed to say, "I'm sorry, senior brother can't help you." Then, Mo Tianxing said directly again. "That's right, the last spot has been decided." As soon as Mo Tianxing's words came out, everyone was shocked. "What? It's already decided? Why?" "Yes, why? Who is it? I'm not convinced." In the crowd, a series of uproar suddenly came from the mouths of the sex geniuses. Many people were unconvinced and had great opinions. "Senior brother Mo, isn't this a bit against the rules? Although you are the sect leader, you can't decide the last spot directly, right?" Duan Muzin, the leader of Lingmu Peak, heard this and said directly. "Yes, brother sect leader, many disciples are not convinced, so who is this person in the end?" Next to him, Chu Hangzi also echoed. Everyone looked straight at Mo Tianxing, as if waiting for his explanation. However, Mo Tianxing suddenly laughed again. "Haha, who said I decided this quota?" As soon as Mo Tianxing's words came out, surprise appeared on everyone's faces. If it wasn't decided by the sect leader, who would it be? This last quota was decided by the Supreme Elder. Junior brother Duanmu and junior brother Chu. If you are not convinced, just go to senior uncle Sidhu. Mo Tianxing then said slowly. However, as soon as he said this, the faces of Chu Hangzi, Duanmu Sen and others suddenly changed. What? It was decided by the Grand Elder. How is this possible? The two were extremely shocked and unbelievable. If it was decided by Mo Tianxing, they still had room for maneuver and could discuss it, but if it was decided by the Grand Elder, then it was a done deal. Although on the surface, Mo Tianxing was the sect master and the strongest, they knew that the Grand Elder was the real powerful one. There was also seniority, so they had to call him uncle when they met. Moreover, the Grand Elder was like a dragon that could not be seen from head to tail, and his actions were extremely domineering, with a righteous spirit that did not obey the heaven and earth. Such a person, as a small junior peak master, would they dare to offend him? Seeing the frustrated expressions of Duanmu Sen and Chu Hangzi, Mo Tianxing couldn't help but smile again, and then continued. As for the candidate chosen by Uncle Sidhu, he is actually in the field. When Mo Tianxing said this, everyone was shocked again. What? In the field? At this moment, everyone's eyes were looking at the crowd, searching constantly, but they did not see any special figures. And Li Hao in the crowd was also speechless at this moment. I wanted to keep a low profile, but it seems that it won't work. Come out, junior brother Li Hao. At this time, Mo Tianxing's eyes also looked at Li Hao. Boom. Many people's hearts were directly shocked by Mo Tianxing's words. Li Hao? Junior brother? Mo Tianxing actually called him junior brother. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 616. Li Hao. That person is Li Hao? Who is Li Hao? He is actually the junior brother of the sect master. There seems to be no one named Li Hao among the peak masters or sect elders. Suspicious voices came out from the mouths of these disciples. However, there are still some people who have heard of the name Li Hao. Is it him? On the battle stage, Mu Hongluan's beautiful eyes trembled and she said in a lost voice. She thought of a figure. She had just seen that guy before. It turned out to be him. Then, Mu Hongluan's sight searched among the crowd and soon locked the target. Her beautiful eyes fell on a young man wearing the clothes of a chore's disciple. Apart from being handsome, there was nothing special about him. But such an ordinary guy actually became the junior brother of the sect master? He was also the candidate selected by the Supreme Elder. Mu Hongluan's inner shock was beyond words. Not only Mu Hongluan, but also Shen Bingzin, Long Kui, and others were shocked to the extreme. They knew Li Hao, who was also a genius who entered the sect with them. However, the other party did not seem to participate in the assessment test, and finally became an errant disciple. Was it him? Finally. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, a figure slowly walked out of the crowd, wearing the clothes of an errant disciple. At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on Li Hao. Is it him? No way. He is Li Hao, the junior brother of the sect master. Odd job disciple. A series of uproarious voices suddenly came out from the mouths of these Tianxing sect disciples. Huh! He is Li Hao. Not only were these disciples shocked, but even the peak masters on the high platform suddenly looked at each other. They really didn't expect that this guy named Li Hao was actually an odd job disciple. Could it be that this odd job disciple went the wrong way? For a moment, a stream of divine senses swept over Li Hao's body. These peak masters wanted to see through Li Hao, but they were shocked to find that this ordinary guy in front of them seemed to be covered with a layer of fog, blocking their detection and perception. He is Li Hao, the new disciple of the Supreme Elder, and the 11th person. Mo Tianxing said directly, Li Hao, haven't you met the senior brothers and sisters yet? Since you are the disciple of the Supreme Elder, you are our junior brother. Wow! As soon as Mo Tianxing said this, the whole audience burst into an uproar. Oh my God, is he really just an errand boy? How did he become the disciple of the Supreme Elder? The junior brother of the sect master? Isn't this a generation higher than us? Oh my God, should we call him Uncle Master? What kind of opportunity is this? This is too heaven-defying. The eyes of the Tianxing sect's geniuses looking at Li Hao at this moment are full of envy, jealousy, and hatred, and even more so, full of strong hostility. Why? Why? Some people are unwilling to accept, especially those guys on the battle stage, and those who have just been defeated. Suddenly, a man appeared, and he was an errand boy disciple, and he rode directly on their heads. No one accepted this. A pair of eyes stared at Li Hao tightly, and at this moment Li Hao also felt a strong pressure. However, these pressures were quickly borne by Li Hao. Since you have stood up, let's be high profile for once. Greetings, senior brother sect master, and senior brothers and sisters of the peak masters. Li Hao remained calm, and immediately clasped his fists towards Mo Tianxing and the peak masters above him, with a calm and composed look, neither humble nor arrogant. This look and demeanor made the people on the high platform look up to him. Mo Tianxing looked at Li Hao and nodded slightly. Although he didn't know how this guy became a disciple of the Supreme Elder, Mo Tianxing believed in Situnan's vision. Immediately, Mo Tianxing spoke directly again, his voice magnificent and majestic. From today on, Li Hao is your junior uncle, why don't you pay homage to your junior uncle? Mo Tianxing's words echoed in the ears of everyone, but it made all the disciples of the Tianxing sect change their expressions. Little junior uncle? Greetings, junior master uncle. Greetings, junior master uncle. Greetings, junior master uncle. Although these Tianxing sect's proud disciples were unwilling to call Li Hao junior master uncle, they had no choice but to obey under the pressure of the sect master and bowed to Li Hao. No need to be polite, no need to be polite. Seeing this, Li Hao immediately waved his hand, but his eyes fell on some guys. There were still some people who didn't salute him just now, Qin Tian and others were exceptions, and they were still in an arrogant posture. Not only the people on the battle stage, but also some direct disciples and core disciples. Seeing this scene, Mo Tianxing's face suddenly froze. He didn't expect that even his disciples Qin Tian, Mu Hongluan, and others didn't salute Li Hao. Qin Tian, Mu Hongluan, and you guys, didn't you hear what I said? Mo Tianxing said in a deep voice, with a hint of coldness in his voice, and the surrounding space seemed to be frozen. Mo Tianxing was angry. When Qin Tian and others heard this, their expressions immediately changed, and they finally saluted Li Hao. Greetings to my junior uncle. Meet my junior uncle. Although they were unwilling to do so, they did not dare to violate the power of the sect leader. No need to be polite. No need to be polite. Li Hao looked like a harmless person, but he was speechless in his heart. This Mo Tianxing was trying to bring hatred to him, right? No, someone is dissatisfied again. But master, I don't accept it. Why? He is just a handyman. The first one to speak out was Qin Tian, the disciple's senior brother and a direct disciple of Mo Tianxing. Although he was arrogant, he couldn't accept it, and he was also very direct. As soon as Qin Tian spoke up, the geniuses around him also spoke up. I'm not convinced either. Why does he get a spot without even having to fight? The person who spoke this time was Lei Dao from Ben Lai Feng. As a lay cultivator, he was also very straightforward and spoke directly. I don't accept it either. And me. And me. Dot. At this moment, Chu Feng, Sun Yang, and others also spoke out. We are not convinced either. Of course, it's not just them, there are also the geniuses under the battlefield. They have been fighting for a long time and they can't even get a spot. In front of them, a handyman disciple, the Supreme Elder's personal disciple, the sect master's junior brother, wants to get a spot. But there is no need to even fight. Why? Junior brother, they are not convinced. What should you do? Mo Tianxing looked at the scene, but he laughed again and said to Li Hao. When Li Hao heard this, some black lines suddenly appeared on his forehead. Isn't this digging a hole for himself? However, Li Hao didn't care. Since you are not convinced, I will beat you until you are convinced. Li Hao said in a deep voice. The voice is not loud, but the tone is not ordinary. What an arrogant tone. What a shameless statement. Many people's expressions turned cold, and sharp looks flashed in their eyes. I saw Li Hao slowly walking out again and looking at the 10 battle platforms. You, come down. Li Hao took a look and pointed at the person on the battlefield, Lei Dao. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 617. You, come down. Li Hao pointed at the thunder path on the battle platform and said. And when this scene fell into the eyes of countless people, it made them burst into uproar again. What? He actually wants Lei Dao to come down. What an arrogant tone. Is this a direct challenge to Rado? As a direct disciple of Bai Lai Feng, this Lei Dao can also be ranked among the top 5 disciples in this generation. Isn't he looking for death? He has only been a disciple for 3 years and is still a handyman disciple. Does he have the realm of a golden immortal? As the voices of the disciples rang out, they felt that the young master in front of them was still a little too arrogant. It was not a wise choice to directly challenge this thunder path. At the same time, the senior officials of Tianxing sect on the battlefield also had a strange look in their hearts when they heard Li Hao's words. Crazy, really not ordinary crazy. Where does this guy get his confidence? Do you really think that being accepted as a direct disciple by the Supreme Elder will make you arrogant? At this moment, in front of Li Hao, Lei Dao, who was standing proudly on the battlefield, heard Li Hao's words. His expression suddenly changed, and he became a little ugly, his brows were also wrinkled, and his eyes were even more intense. A sharp light shines out. This guy was picked on by others when no one else was picking him. He was simply looking for death. Since you are seeking death, you can't blame me. Uncle Junior, are you sure you want to choose me? I won't show mercy. Don't blame me if you get hurt. A cold smile appeared on the corner of Lei Dao's mouth, and he said to Li Hao in a deep voice. Haha, fists and feet have no eyes. If you get hurt, just get hurt. Of course I won't blame you, but I won't be merciful. If you know better, just get out of here. When Li Hao heard this, he said it calmly and didn't care. Hearing Li Hao's words, Lei Dao's expression changed again. In that case, let me ask my junior uncle for advice. Lei Dao said coldly. Boom. The next moment, a powerful cultivation aura was suddenly released from Lei Dong's body, and the power of billowing fairy spirits rose and flowed around his body, with terrifying momentum. When Li Hao saw this, his expression froze and he began to take it seriously. The cultivation realm of this Thunder Dao has long been clearly sensed by Li Hao, who owns the system. The cultivation level of the 3rd grade Golden Immortal is only one step away from the realm of the 4th grade Golden Immortal, which is not unpowerful. But the reason why Li Hao chose this Thunder path was also to deter other geniuses. Of course, the premise is that Li Hao defeats the opponent and suppresses it quickly with powerful means. However, Li Hao still has this little bit of confidence. If he can't even suppress this Lei Dao, then it's okay for Li Hao not to take this spot. Li Hao's eyes also burst out with a sharp light, and then Li Hao jumped up directly and stood on the battlefield in Lei Dao. Take action. Li Hao stood proudly and spoke slowly to Lei Dao. His voice was calm, but it was full of extremely powerful confidence. Rumble. Upon hearing this, Lei Dao on the opposite side saw that even though he was operating his cultivation power to the extreme, there was actually billowing thunder power flowing around Lei Dao's body. At this moment, Lei Dao was bathed in thunder, his body was completely wrapped in the power of thunder, and his whole aura became extremely violent at this moment. Boom. Immediately, everyone saw that the thunderbolt moved, and punched Li Hao in front with an extremely violent momentum. This punch was like the condensed power of endless thunder, revealing incomparable destructive power. You must have understood the true meaning of the thunder power of this thunder path. This punch must be difficult for even a 3rd grade Golden Immortal in the same realm to receive. Is it too harsh? Can Li Hao take over this? Why doesn't he take action? Is he scared? The people in the field watched the scene and were shocked by the power of Lei Dao's punch. But when their eyes fell on Li Hao, they saw that Li Hao was still standing there blankly, without even a gesture of resistance, as if he was frightened, and suddenly he let out another sound of surprise. Indeed, at this moment, Li Hao was still standing there without making any movement. However, Li Hao was not frightened, but he didn't pay attention to the thunder fist in front of him at all. Court death. Lei Dao looked at this scene, and a sharp light burst out in his eyes, and he couldn't help but said sharply, the other party has not made a move until now, but he is so entrusted, then what will happen to him later? The serious injury caused by Thunder's punch was caused by the other party. Finally, under the shocked eyes of everyone, Lei Dao's powerful punch, which contained the power of thunder, came directly towards Li Hao. However, the scene as everyone expected did not happen. An even more shocking scene happened. All I saw was that the moment Lei Dao's punch was about to hit Li Hao, the distance was less than an inch. Li Hao moved. But it was just a manual move. Li Hao still stood there, slowly raised his hand, and pointed towards Lei Dao, and this finger pointed directly at Lei Dao's punch. Disperse. Li Hao only said one word. But when Li Hao's voice fell, an invisible and magical force suddenly emerged from Li Hao's fingers. Immediately, just as the words came out, Lei Dao's thunder fist was blocked in the void, and the thunder power on it dissipated instantly. How is this possible? At this moment, feeling the scene happening, Lei Dao made an extremely shocked sound, and a wave of shock arose in his heart. Just a finger of force directly dissipated his thunder fist. Lei Dao could only watch the scene happen but could not stop it. Bang! Then, Lei Dao's body was directly repelled by the powerful force. Bang 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 bang. After retreating a long way, Lei Dong stopped his body. This is impossible. How could this happen? Lei Dao said in a lost voice. The horror in his heart had reached the extreme. He had never encountered such a situation before, and the whole person was like seeing a ghost. What happened? Who can tell me what happened? He actually beat Lei Dao back. Just pointed at him. A series of surprised and doubtful voices suddenly came from the mouths of the disciples of the Tianxing sect around them. They saw Li Hao pointed at Lei Dao, and then Lei Dao was shocked back. It was too fantastic that such a simple finger had such a terrifying power. This is impossible. I will never lose to him. Lei Dao stabilized his body and was not injured. He said in a deep voice. Boom. As Lei Dao said this, the violent power of thunder surged up from Lei Dao's body again. Then Lei Dao rushed towards Li Hao without saying anything. Your thunder power is not cultivated well enough. Seeing this scene, Li Hao said calmly again, with a strong confidence in his voice. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 618. You haven't mastered the power of thunder yet. As Li Hao's voice fell, everyone's hearts were shaken. Who is Lei Dao? The extremely talented Lei cultivator, the personal disciple of Master Bai Lei Peak, has only practiced for 100 years, but he is already a powerful figure of the third-grade Golden Immortal, and he has even comprehended the existence of Lei's true meaning. However, Li Hao said that this Thunder Dao cannot be practiced well enough with the power of thunder. Arrogant. This is really too arrogant. At this moment, even the face of Zhao Tianli, the leader of the Pai Peak on the high platform, became a little ugly. Can't I master the power of thunder? You're talking arrogantly. I want to see where you have the confidence to speak like this. Lei Dao said angrily, and the power of cultivation in his body was released without reservation, and the power of thunder was also operating to the extreme. His whole body was bathed in thunder, filled with an extremely violent aura, and even his body was raised a little higher. A true meaning of thunder enveloped his body, and the rolling thunder seemed to condense into a piece of armor on his body, heading towards Li Hao. When Li Hao saw this, his expression remained as usual. At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on the field and on Li Hao. As Li Hao's words fell. Boom! A shocking amount of cultivation was immediately released from Li Hao's body. At this moment, except for the senior officials of Tianxing sect on the high platform, all the disciples below felt a strong sense of oppression. Golden Immortal. This is Golden Immortal. He is also a Golden Immortal. This kind of momentum must be at least a third-grade Golden Immortal. How old is he? It has only been 3 years since he started. He is already a Golden Immortal? This is too scary. No wonder he was accepted as a disciple by the Elder in heaven. This talent is really terrifying. Shocking sounds suddenly came from the mouths of these disciples, and they felt extremely frightened at this moment. As Li Hao's cultivation was released, everyone in the audience was shaken by it. At this moment, even Lei Dao felt extremely shocked in his heart. Let me show you what the real power of thunder is. But at this time, Li Hao's proud voice was heard in Lei Dao's ears again. Thunder comes. I only heard Li Hao shouting into the void again. Boom. As soon as this voice came out, just like the words were spoken, the power of rolling thunder came instantly from the sky, turning into thunder dragons, descending on Li Hao's body and surrounding Li Hao's body. Constantly flying and wandering. Boom! Endless thunder condensed on Li Hao's body, filling the space within 1 foot around Li Hao's body with thunder, turning it into a sea of thunder. And Li Hao, bathed in the thunder, was like the Lord of Thunder, and all the thunder obeyed Li Hao's orders. The violent power swept across, earth-shaking, and it was infinitely more powerful than the power of Lei Dao. 9 Heavens Thunder Method. Li Hao has practiced the thunder method a long time ago. As Li Hao's cultivation has improved, Li Hao's understanding of the thunder method has also become deeper, and now he has understood the field of thunder rules. Leixiu. Is he also a Leixiu? How is this possible? What a powerful force! Shocking sounds continued to come from the mouths of the immortal sect disciples below. It was obvious that the young master in front of them was also a cultivator of thunder, and his understanding of the power of thunder was deeper than that of thunder. How is this possible? When Lei Dao on the opposite side saw this scene, he also made a horrified sound. At this moment, he was shocked to feel that all his thunder power was suppressed, and even seemed to be somewhat uncontrollable. Crisis. A strong sense of crisis filled Lei Dao's heart. And the next moment, I only saw Li Hao moving. His figure still did not move, and he waved his hand directly forward. Go. A cold voice came from Li Hao's mouth. Immediately, the thunder pool around Li Hao's body moved directly forward, heading towards the location of the thunder path. When Lei Dao saw this scene, his expression changed drastically, and he quickly used his body's cultivation power to the extreme, trying to resist. But as soon as this thunder pool descended on Lei Dao, the entire space seemed to be frozen by it, turning into a field that was unstoppable and unavoidable. Boom! The huge roar resounded again, and this thunder pool directly submerged Lei Dao's figure. Under this thunder pool, Lei Dao could not even operate his own thunder power. Because the opponent's thunder pool contains the power of rules, just like the field of rules. Bang! Without any resistance, Lei Dao's figure was directly blasted away. A large mouthful of blood spurted out from Lei Dao's mouth, and he was already blown away far away. As for Lei Dao, his clothes were in pieces, and his body gave off a burning smell, as if his whole body was about to be roasted. This was the result of being burned by thunder. He had already suffered serious injuries. Without the healing elixir, he might not be able to recover in a month or two. This was the result of Li Hao's withdrawal. Naturally, fellow sects should not be too harsh. Li Hao was still bathed in the thunder, and he looked like a real Lord of Thunder, extremely proud, and his temperament was even more aloof. However, the whole place seemed a little quiet at this moment. Because, the scene in front of him was too shocking. Lei Dao lost. He was defeated without any chance to fight back. Is this his strength? This is too strong. Is this the new disciple who just joined the sect 3 years ago? Shocking voices kept coming out of the mouths of these immortal sect disciples. Everyone looked at Li Hao with a different look, with a touch of awe for the strong. With the cultivation of a third-grade golden immortal, he has already comprehended the power of thunder rules. No wonder he was chosen by the great elder to be his disciple. On the high platform, a peak master couldn't help but speak out, and was also shocked by the powerful strength and talent shown by Li Hao. Li Hao stood proudly on the battle stage, swept his eyes across the audience, and then said loudly, "But there are still people who are not convinced. If you are not convinced, come up together." Crazy. Not just crazy. But when everyone heard this voice, they felt it was justified. Li Hao was crazy and had the confidence to be crazy. As Li Hao finished speaking, the whole place fell into a brief silence. Some people were a little moved but still did not take action, because they felt an incomparable pressure at this moment. Deterrence. This was the deterrence that Li Hao brought to everyone by defeating Lei Dao. Even the other geniuses on the battle platforms, such as Qin Tian, Sun Yang, and others, looked at Li Hao with a drastic change at this moment. They also felt a strong threat from Li Hao. Lei Dao's cultivation and strength were not much different from theirs, but Li Hao was able to crush him directly with powerful means. If they were to face each other, it would be a bit dangerous. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 619. After Li Hao finished speaking. For a long time, no one stood up. Li Hao's powerful strength had a great deterrent effect on the Tianjiao present. Finally, after a while, someone stood up. And it was not just one person, there were 7 or 8 figures, each of which was filled with pride. Ye Lang, Han Lu, Lin Ping, Shui Ling Yu Linglong, and others were among them. They were all people at the level of Golden Immortal, and they were either direct disciples or core disciples. Among them, Lin Ping had even reached the level of the 3rd grade Golden Immortal. There were 8 figures, 8 powerful Tianjiaos who stood up again at this moment. Although they were defeated by others on the stage before, they were still very unwilling in their hearts. Now that there was an extra spot, they naturally could not give up. Although the Li Hao in front of them also showed super strength and even defeated Lei Dao, if they attacked together, the other party might not be able to resist. At that time, they would have the opportunity to compete for the last spot again. As if they had agreed privately, several people stood up at the same time. Finally stood up. It's you, right? Is there anyone else? Seeing these people stand up, Li Hao's expression still did not change much, and he spoke directly. It's just us, Junior Master, there is no one else. Among the few people, Lin Ping said to Li Hao, and then asked again. Junior Master, you just said it, are you sure you want us to go together? Lin Ping deliberately emphasized that this was what Li Hao said, not that they were bullying the few with more people. But if they can't beat the opponent even if they fight together, then no matter how many people there are, it's useless. If the 8 of them join forces, I'm afraid that the Golden Immortals above the 5th rank can fight. No matter how strong Li Hao is, he is definitely not their opponent. Haha. Go together, so as to avoid trouble. Li Hao heard this, but he didn't care at all, smiled faintly, and said. He wants to fight 8 of them alone. The 8 of them are all famous geniuses of our Tianxing section. Even if he is also a 3rd grade Golden Immortal, I'm afraid he is not a match for these 8 people working together. Immediately, there were shocking voices coming out from the mouths of the onlookers. What a boast! Do you really think you are invincible? Even on the high platform, Zhao Tianli of Ben Lifeng couldn't help but speak out after hearing what Li Hao said. He didn't like Li Hao very much. This guy defeated all the Lei Dao of his Ben Lifeng, making Ben Lifeng lose face. Little junior brother Li Hao is not very wise. If it's a one-on-one fight, I believe he can win, but if these 8 people join forces, he may be a little arrogant. Seeing this, Xiao Yuruo, the peak master of Unipeak, couldn't help but speak and expressed his opinion. I have more confidence in my junior brother. Master Zhao, do you want to make a bet? At this time, Mo Tianxing, who was sitting in the main seat, also spoke, and he was quite confident in Li Hao. Bet. Zhao Tianli was stunned when he heard what Mo Tianxing said. Let's bet. How do you bet? Zhao Tianli also risked his life and asked. Let's bet on the outcome of the battle between my junior brother and them. If my junior brother loses, I will give you a top-grade immortal weapon. Mo Tianxing immediately said again. Top-grade immortal weapon? Zhao Tianlai was shocked when he heard what Mo Tianxing said. You know, none of them, the peak masters, have one, and Mo Tianxing has only a handful of top-grade immortal weapons. Zhao Tianlai was a little moved and a little jealous. Not only him, but also the peak masters beside him, Xiao Yuruo, could not help but exclaimed when they heard what Mo Tianxing said. Top-grade magic weapon? Is the stake so high? Although he was jealous, Zhao Tianlai did not lose his mind. He had to win the bet. Besides, since it was a bet, he had to put up the stake. What if he wins? Zhao Tianlai asked again. Although this possibility was extremely small, it was not impossible. Mo Tianxing heard this and said immediately. If junior brother wins, then you take out your thundercloud shuttle. What? Hearing this, Zhao Tianlai's face changed. This thundercloud shuttle is one of his only two middle-grade immortal weapons, and it is also his life-saving item. Although this thundercloud shuttle cannot improve combat power, after using it, it can travel 1,000 miles in one breath, which is much faster than some escape techniques, and it also has extremely strong defensive power. What? Don't dare to bet. At this time, Mo Tianxing said with a smile, which made Zhao Tianlai's face change. A middle-grade immortal weapon bet on a top-grade immortal weapon. This is undoubtedly a good opportunity for Zhao Tianlai. If he can have a top-grade immortal weapon, his combat power will rise by 2 levels. As the saying goes, you can't catch a wolf without sacrificing a lamb. Okay. Let's bet. In the end, Zhao Tianlai still took the bet, and the people around him were witnesses. In that case, Junior Master, then we are offended. Let's go together. On the other side, Lin Ping and others said to Li Hao again. The next moment, several people jumped and stood on the battle platform. Boom 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 boom. Then, powerful cultivation auras were released from several people at the same time, and the powerful immortal power made the whole space vibrate. Let's attack together, otherwise you won't have any chance. Seeing this, Li Hao said in a deep voice, his voice filled with a hint of pride. Boom. When Lin Ping and others heard this, they immediately condensed a powerful offensive without any hesitation. I saw that a long spear appeared in Lin Ping's hand, which was a low-grade immortal weapon. On the long spear, there was a hint of penetration. Then Lin Ping's spear came out like a dragon and went directly towards Li Hao. There was no rule that weapons could not be used in this battle, so it was not a violation for Lin Ping to take out this long spear. Not only him, but also Ye Lang. A long sword appeared in Ye Lang's hand. The long sword was also a low-grade immortal weapon. He had reached the state of unity between man and sword with the sword. Then he swung the sword directly, with an incomparable and sharp sword energy, and slashed directly towards Li Hao. At the same time, in addition to Lin Ping and Ye Lang launching offensives, the remaining 6 Tianjiao also launched powerful offensives towards Li Hao. Han Lu was surrounded by water-attributed power. He, who understood the true meaning of water, raised his hand and condensed a powerful water-attributed palm technique, which he blasted towards Li Hao. Shui Linger and Yu Linglong also used powerful Taoist techniques while turning their graceful figures towards Li Hao. The scene was magnificent and the momentum was amazing. They were all famous Tianjiao in the section at this moment. Under the joint offensive, countless people felt a sense of fear. God-level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 620. Ye Lang and the others all launched the most powerful offensive and blasted in the direction of Li Hao. Everyone felt frightened and shocked by the might released by Ye Lang and the other 8 people. Then, everyone's eyes fell on Li Hao in the field. Even at this moment, facing such a powerful offensive, Li Hao's face still did not show the slightest panic. It is not an exaggeration to describe Li Hao as calm and self-assured. It's quite strong, but this is not enough. Li Hao murmured. Boom. The next moment, on Li Hao's body, the powerful power of cultivation was released without reservation. The cultivation realm of the third-grade golden immortal. However, the momentum released by Li Hao was much stronger than that of an ordinary third-grade golden immortal. Sword. Then, Li Hao shouted again. And as Li Hao's voice fell, buzz buzz buzz. At this moment, the swords in the hands of all the immortal sect disciples in the field were out of control, making endless clanging sounds, as if they had received an order and were all moved. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the next moment, one after another, the long swords broke free from their master's restraints, crossed the void, and headed towards Li Hao. One after another, the long swords gathered from all directions of the Tianxing sect, and then suspended in the void centered on Li Hao's body, making endless sword sounds. There were hundreds and thousands of them, and they were still increasing. Ah! My sword! What's going on? What's going on? At this moment, a series of horrified voices came out of the mouths of these immortal sect disciples. They were really shocked by the scene before their eyes. With just one word, the swords came. Countless swords obeyed Li Hao's orders. What a powerful force! I saw that long swords gathered around Li Hao's body, as if a huge sword formation had formed around Li Hao's body. The sword formation was filled with the shocking sword power, enveloping Li Hao in it. Li Hao's original violent momentum was also relieved, and the whole person became sharp, like a sharp sword, the monarch in the sword, commanding thousands of swords. When the attack of Lin Ping and others came towards Li Hao, the sword formation had already released the shocking power. I saw the long swords constantly moving in the void, shining with sharp light, making the sword formation indestructible. Swish. I only heard the sound of washing constantly ringing in the void. At this moment, the powerful attack of Lin Ping and his 8 people was completely blocked by the sword formation. Li Hao stood under the sword formation, without moving at all. It's my turn now. Looking at this scene, a cold smile appeared on the corner of Li Hao's mouth, and he said in a deep voice, "Go." Then, Li Hao uttered another word lightly. As Li Hao's voice fell, this huge sword formation actually changed its form at this moment, turned its direction, and then turned into a rain of swords all over the sky, and even condensed into a giant sword with a sword intent that was shocking, heading towards several people. The giant sword descended. Bang 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 bang. Ah! Ah! I only heard another scream suddenly, and one figure after another was directly blown away. Puff! Puff! These figures were Lin Ping and others, blood spurted directly from their mouths, and their bodies fell directly under the battle platform, all injured. One sword. Just one sword. The joint offensive of several great geniuses destroyed them all, and they were even injured. Crush. This was a complete crushing. Defeated. Yalang and the others were defeated. They couldn't even block the opponent's sword. This is simply a sweep. This is too strong. A series of exclamations came from the mouths of the Tianxing sect disciples around them. They were all shocked to the point of being overwhelmed by the scene before their eyes. This is the rules of the sword. On the high platform, Zhao Tianli's face became ugly at this moment, muttering, as a Xianxian strongman, he naturally felt that the power just displayed by Li Hao was also the power of rules, but it was the rules of the sword. You know, this guy just displayed the power of the thunder rule. This guy is actually a sword cultivator, and his understanding of the sword has reached such a terrifying level. This is something Zhao Tianli didn't expect. What made Zhao Tianli even more depressed was that he lost the bet. However, one family is happy while another is sad. Mo Tianxing, who was sitting in the main seat, had a bright smile on his face. It was as if he had expected this scene. Lin Ping and others, who had stabilized their bodies, looked a little pale and looked a little unhappy. Unexpectedly, The 8 of them joined forces and were crushed by the other party. Compared with the other party, how could they be called geniuses? Or, the other party was not an ordinary genius at all, but a monster. Especially Ye Lang. As a sword cultivator, he felt a huge gap at this moment, and a deep sense of powerlessness. The reason why the sword wall collapsed last time was also because of him. Ye Lang muttered, thinking of the collapse of the sword wall 3 years ago. At that time, everyone thought that he had comprehended the sword meaning on the sword wall. Now it seems that the person who comprehended the sword meaning on the sword wall at that time should be Li Hao in front of him. Li Hao has many methods, and this sword art is just one of them. Even with this sword art, Li Hao has also comprehended the power of rules. Li Hao stood proudly on the battle stage, and at this moment, everyone looked at the overpass with different eyes. No one should want to challenge, right? Li Hao swept his eyes across the audience, and then said directly. The whole audience was silent, and no one dared to stand up again. Even the 8 great geniuses joined forces and were defeated by the opponent. It would be useless for them to go up. I think everyone has no objection to this last spot. Mo Tianxing's voice came out slowly from the main seat above. No one spoke. No objection. Master Zhao Feng, you lost. At this time, Mo Tianxing looked at Zhao Tianli again with a bright smile on his face. Take it. When Zhao Tianli heard what Mo Tianxing said, he looked like he had been defeated, and his face became extremely ugly. The next moment, a ball of light was thrown towards Mo Tianxing. In the ball of light, there was the immortal weapon, the thunder-flowing cloud shuttle. Then, Zhao Tianli left directly, leaving Li Hao with this sad place. You 11 people go back and prepare, and set off in 3 days. Mo Tianxing took the thunder-flowing cloud shuttle, and then said to the people who got the quota in the field. As Mo Tianxing's voice fell, the competition for the quota also came to an end. Everyone dispersed, each went back to their own homes, and each found their own mothers. Li Hao was also ready to leave here directly, but a voice came into Li Hao's ears again. Little junior brother, wait a moment.